It pains me to say that One Punch Man Season 3 is probably the worst anime of this season. You remember how I complained last week about, like, the opening of the episode having 40 seconds of still frames, which is just unacceptable. It's crazy to start your episode like that. Well, imagine if they did that again, but they doubled the time length. Like, I'm not even joking. Like, I'm going to just show you. At exactly 4 minutes and 30 seconds, literally the transition from 4 minutes and 30 seconds into the episode, you start getting this still frame showcasing previous villains from Season 1, Season 2, and it is literally just the villains with PNGs, just colored from the manga. Like, it's literally just the manga colored, by the way, or images from the previous season just pasted into this episode, and you see the still frame just scrolling slightly up while they slightly move the PNGs left or right to make it seem like there's some form of movement. It's the exact same thing that we saw with the Garo sliding in the second episode. Now, obviously, that looked a lot worse because of the context of the whole scene, but what makes this so bad is that this is literally a minute and 18 seconds of still frames. I want to put this in perspective. This episode is about 20 minutes long, like, of content. 1 minute and 18 seconds just from this scene. This is not counting other scenes from the episode. This one scene is literally just scrolling PNGs of previous villains. At this point, they are literally just coloring the manga. That's what they're doing. They are coloring the manga of One Punch Man, and they're not really animating it. Now, obviously, there is action sequences in this episode, which I'm going to get into, I will talk about. But I'm just going to say that it's cooked. This entire production for the anime is cooked. I think at this point in time, looking at this series 3 episodes deep, it's probably going to get a lot worse from here. And the reason why I say that is actually because of the action sequence that we got in today's episode. So let's segue into that. So at the beginning of the episode, we have this whole little Garo action sequence. And at a glance, if you're not really paying attention, it looks acceptable. It looks fine. Fair. And I will say that it is 100% a step up from episode 1 and episode 2. Not going to deny that in any way. The problem here is that anyone that has been paying attention to One Punch Man previews and just the latest episodes will instantly recognize this sequence. This action sequence with Garo fighting, is actually from a PV. On the top is the preview that we got over a year ago for One Punch Man Season 3, and on the bottom is the episode that we got today. And if you take a hard look at it, you will see there is some differences here, but the point is that they did straight up add sequences from that preview into this episode that we got today. And if you don't believe me, I mean, literally look at these segments here. You can see that right here, that they straight up copy and pasted the preview. Now, you might think to yourself, okay, that's not a bad thing. Why wouldn't they use animation that they already have, at their disposal? Yeah, I see nothing wrong with that. The problem here is that if you look at how they did it in the episode, they literally removed and chopped content from the PV and made it look even worse in the final product. Somehow, the preview looks better than the final product that we got today. How is that possible? Like, let's just look at this opening sequence of this fight, okay? There is a lot more movement and impact to just the fight. Like, look at how everything looks, and then look at how they zoom everything out at the beginning here. It's very obvious what they're doing. Like, you see that impact there? Like, the way they do it, it's just... they literally chopped it up or edited it, and just they kind of made it look worse. The flow of this entire action sequence just does not look good whatsoever in the episode when you directly pair it with the preview that we got over a year ago. And that's the reason why this is bad. It's because if they are hurting for time, they're pressed for time or whatever, why not just put the entire preview into the episode instead of cutting it into pieces like this and making it look even worse? It makes the entire scene just fall flat, especially when you have a direct comparison to what it actually is supposed to look like. And so the question I have to ask myself is, why would they do this? Like, they went through the effort of kind of doing extra work by chopping it up or changing little things here and there, making it a little bit different from the original PV, but in general, it just makes it look a lot worse. And that's not even including into, like, the ghosting and stuff. Like, I'm not even going to get into that topic. All I'm saying is you could just straight up see that everything about the episode is just inferior to the preview that we got over a year ago. The final product is actually worse. But obviously, let's get into the other scenes. So the crazy thing is that this is the best looking segment of the episode. It is. Like, hands down. Like, everybody is talking about this. It is the most talked about segment in terms of great animation. And even it is not good. Bad sign. Very, very bad sign. So we need to get into the other action sequence, which, you know, it is getting clowned on. This sequence is just... That's an in-between frame, but, like, just, let me just show this, okay? So, basically, it is ambitious, but you can tell it's choppy. It's kind of like, the animators were working on this, they had a vision, the storyboarders and everything, they had a vision, they wanted this to be a very high-impact movement scene, but because of the time constraints, they did not have enough time to make this come to realization, to actually allow it to be what it's supposed to be. It feels legitimately like we got 25% of the product, and 75% of this entire section is missing from the fight. Like, the way the sound effects, like, I'm gonna turn on the audio here. Like, listen to these sound effects here, and, like, how the sequence is. It does not look good, man. Like, it doesn't. Like, here, listen. Like, it just doesn't have any, like, oomph, any impact. It does not look or feel good. And it honestly feels like maybe some of the sound effects are kind of off cue with the actual art and animation. It just feels like there is an issue just organically with the entire just creation of this scene. And it's like I said, I feel like it's a product that's like 25% finished and 75% wasn't, and they had to toss this out the door because they had no time to really work on it. Which gets into the next big thing. What's really going on? Well, I've already talked about this in my previous videos, but I guess it's important to talk about again for those that haven't seen my previous videos. The production committee really screwed over this anime. Bandai and the production committee, they absolutely threw every animator, the entire staff, the director under the bus, and it's sickening. Like, it's really sickening just seeing what the production committee has done. Because everybody is going to blame the animators, they're going to blame the director, they're going to blame JC staff, and not really blame the true reason to why this is happening to begin with. One Punch Man was given, just to be blunt, a shit schedule. It was not given enough time to cook in the oven. It is a microwave meal that was supposed to be cooked for maybe 3 minutes. It was only cooked for 1:20. It is not finished. It's very obvious. And I feel like there hasn't been any other basic example of an unfinished product in a long time than One Punch Man. And this is why I say it's probably the worst anime of this season. Yeah, there's probably other anime from this season that does arguably look worse. I'm not going to act like there isn't. But the problem here is that I've never seen such a high-profile project to this degree, at least in recent memory, that has been done so dirty. The only one that really comes to mind as of late, I guess, would be Blue Lock. Blue Lock Season 2. We know how that turned out. And I'm just like, when I take a look at this, it's just so sad, because you can tell that there's a lot of ambition and a lot of love for the product, at least from the staff, but they're not able to finish it. And if we're getting this type of quality in episode 3, expect things to really just downward spiral as we get further and further in to the release of this series. I doubt it's going to even look nearly as good. There might be some frames that will be good, maybe 30 seconds of burst animation that's kind of cool, but I feel like just looking at how even a PV that they added from over a year ago into the episode looks even worse than the PV, I think says everything we need to know. So there is a scene within the episode that this person actually points out, and it is so bad. So this right here is the original One Punch Man Season 1 animation. You can see Saitama breathing heavy and all that. It just looks good. Like, it's not like anything to write home about, but obviously you can see him breathing and moving. In the episode we got today, they take that literal frame from that episode of Season 1, and they remove the background, and they don't even have Saitama moving and breathing. They just do narration. What the hell? Like, they literally have animation movement for Saitama breathing. But they don't even do that. You know this is the same. You know this is the same. It's the same outfit. You can see it's the same art, same animation. They 100% took a frame from season 1 and they copy and pasted it and placed it here. But the fact that they didn't even put the animation sequence of it, I think really showcases just how rushed this product really is. That it is really being rushed out the door to the point where they can't even put the full animation of Saitama breathing. They have to put a black background and then put narration over it. There's actually censorship that takes place in this episode of One Punch Man Season 3 that many people might not have noticed because it's very low-key, especially with everything else going on. So for those that don't know what's going on here, basically the top section is what Episode 1 and 2 had in its opening song. The bottom is now what Episode 3 has in its opening song. Now, I want to go on record and say that this isn't necessarily full-on censorship, technically, and the reason for that is because the bottom is actually her real manga design. This is an accurate design of her character. The top was not. And the thing is that it's clear that they were just correcting the art or animation because obviously they wanted to stay more in line with what the character actually looked like. I don't really know. But the point of the matter is that apparently they went back and they changed the opening for Episode 3. And the fact that they're doing such changes for an opening like this, it's like, you could tell that if they couldn't even finish the opening in time or get the things correct, the episodes are doomed, man. They're having to fix the opening. Like, bro. So, let's show the other bombshell. This is the staff. So, if you take a hard look at this, you might not know what's really going on here. But, this is basically all, third-party freelancers being incorporated to work on this episode of One Punch Man Season 3. It is people outside of Japan, people like, let's say, in China or Korea, that is working on the episode of One Punch Man. Basically, pretty much no animators at JC staff, from my understanding, worked on this episode of One Punch Man. It was completely outsourced, and the only person from the staff of JC staff was Oki, as you can see here. They're outsourcing entire episodes this early on. I don't think I really need to explain why that's bad. I don't. But yeah, it's bad. That's very bad. I know a lot of anime outsource, and they have freelancers. Yes, I'm aware of that. But the fact that only one member of JC staff's team is animating, and then you have, like, the director, you know, doing storyboarding. Not good. So, to make a long story short, I would say, yeah, One Punch Man Season 3, as much as it pains me to say it, it's trash. Yeah, it's trash. I'm obviously going to continue watching it because I want to just see how far it spirals downward into the toilet. But it's trash. No hate to the animators, no hate to the director. I want to say that again because for some reason people think criticism means hate. No, it does not, okay? Don't gaslight me. But it is a bad product. Simple as that, okay? I'm not going to consume shit and say it's okay. Simple. But yeah, tell me your thoughts in the comments below. How you felt about this episode. How do you feel about what I told you guys about? Just be honest. But be safe, stay healthy, leave a comment for the algorithm, helps with the video. Chibi out.